You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How we doing? How we doing? CaitlinClark, gonna come right to you once again. Female Athlete of the Year, Sporting News, got it done once again. Nothing like magic on the court. CaitlinClark is shining brighter than a bright star can shine when you get Sporting News Female Athlete of the Year. And that's a tremendous accomplishment for CaitlinClark. But Caitlin's kind of shifted gears on us a little bit. And she's kind of, accepting these awards. And she took it a step further on this one because Caitlin has been dominating this game for a long time, folks. I mean, really, look at it. You talk about Nike. I tell everyone now, I'm going to circle back on this. Buy Nike stock. Buy Nike stock. Okay, Caitlin Clark, Associated Press, Athlete of the Year. No doubt about it. Caitlin Clark, Jersey Mike, Naismith, Athlete of the Year, right? There's no Player of the Year. I mean, Caitlin Clark has swept the board. Now, to the media, sport news, I really want to give you a big appreciation on the way you laid this out for us, because no doubt she is the Sporting News Athlete of the Year, right? And way that will come out projected on the women's side is just the Athlete of the Year, but on in totality, she's the Female Athlete of the Year. Now, here's where things get a little dicey for me. Money Mike's going to always be objective, and I'm going to bring it to you, and I have to do it in one or two ways. I can't just come to you and talk about attendance every day. I can't come to you and talk about a workout every day. I got to give you some concrete to get you built up so you can get a little bit of a debating point with me a little bit. But the only thing I don't like about what I'm seeing now from Caitlin, Caitlin's a great basketball player. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm a basketball fan. I'm a women's basketball fan. There's 100% behind that. Love the players. Okay, but here's where it gets a little bit dicey for me with Caitlin. And Caitlin, man, I tell you what, this thing's going to get harder and harder. And I don't know where it's going to end. I don't know how it's going to finish, but I do know it's going to get harder and harder. Why? Because you had an incredible journey to this point, especially with the historical viewership. No doubt about it. The eyes are popping out now. I say the biggest thing is that I kind of said about my entire careers, nobody really believed in me other than myself. That's what every athlete's got to have. That's kudos to Caitlin on that one. Clark said, I think confidence. I think as a young girl, just have confidence. A young boy, have confidence in yourself and confidence in whatever you want to do. Okay, but understand this, folks. As we keep moving through this, Clark continued to answer from the podium with the loss to South Carolina when she did a tribute to Brent Nan. That's where I'm going, right? I think my parents, the thing was that my parents instilled in front of me at a young age, Clark said they never told me no. They told me no about other things, but not in what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be and the goals I wanted to chase after, right? So Caitlin is basically saying, you know what, I had to get this done, and I got it done, right? So I'm not faulting that, and I can respect that because at the end of the day, one thing you got to do is be in the play in the WNBA or the NBA. You got to be a narcissist, right? You got to love yourself more than anybody else. No matter how great Jordan was, NBA players don't love Jordan, right? They care less about Jordan. But when you're a competitor, you got to face the music, right? And Caitlin had that magic last year. She had a magic year up there at Iowa, right? There's no doubt about it. And being the female sports athlete of the year is incredible accomplishment. Being the Associated Press athlete of the year with Simone Giles, the Olympic gold medalist, I've never seen that. I know other years athletes get awarded, but whoever wins the gold is the athlete of the year in Associated Press. They broke that this year because of the impact of Caitlin Clark and the effect of Caitlin Clark. Now, folks, please understand objectively, the impact and the effect does not mean you're the best, right? Let's just clarify that so we get a clear understanding of where I'm going here. Being the impact player or the Caitlin Clark effect does not mean you're the best player, right? It just means that you are the ones the fans enjoy. And you know what? At the end of the day, you got to give Iowa, Indiana, the Midwest, I mean, all the farm towns. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie Hoosiers, go watch it because that's really what Caitlin's coming from. And when you look at that, here's where things get a little bit interesting for me. as I walk you down this list. And I'm going to walk you down this list for a reason because at the end of the day, the players in the WNBA, these are women, not men. All right. They're not out on a street corner hugging or fighting. But really quick, the male athlete of the year was Tani. Man, what a great year. Changed baseball, last 150 years of a game. Comes out, gets 10 RBIs, wins the World Series. I mean, normally, that was where the I thought the AP was going 100% Dodgers beating the Yankees. But the CaitlinClark impact and the CaitlinClark effect top that. Now, when you have an impact and effect, does that mean that same player is going to have an impact and effect every year? No, it doesn't mean that, right? But let's walk down the line because I want to take this a step further because Caitlin talked about Brent. I want to talk to you guys a little bit, and I'm a big stickler on this, being objective, and also when you're covering a professional sports, and there may be some young media members out there that are just getting started, and some of you have been in the game for a long time. You understand and you know this, right? You got to be cautious when you're talking about somebody's children, right? You got to be cautious when they have parents. You got to be cautious with the work the parents have done, and you got to be cautious, okay, of how you address it because there's parents standing behind these players. And why do I say that? Because at the end of the day, when you look at Bob, you got to understand Bob did the work, right? And you go further, you want to look at Angel Reese. We got to look at Angel Webb. Angel Webb's done a phenomenal job, right? Kind of came up, parents were separated, but nevertheless, still going. And you want to talk about Angel Webb? I mean, normally you get it like me and my son. You got Mike and you got Mike Jr. Well, you got Angel and Angel on this one. And Angel's got a brother that can play basketball, right? Got family that can play basketball. So at the end of the day, she gonna spend a long time with her brother. Her brother gonna clean up all that. He gonna get the game going right. I'm telling you, Angel Reese gonna be the most improved player in the WNBA, and that's gonna be hands down because what she's doing with the workouts and everything. And workouts don't show much. The only thing I can tell you from an intangible watching Angel Reese work out, Angel Reese don't touch the rim, right? Don't touch the rim. So anytime you can find an intangible, if you ever go out and scout players and you want to get in there you want to be a professional scout, you got to notice that intangible. When players shoot, does their ball touch the rim? Does it go through the bottom of the net? Angel's shot goes through the bottom of the net. Her range is going to be 17 to 23 feet. Angel Weasel's got some of the quickest feet in the game. You go to an NBA combine, she's going to rank up there high. Got great handles, but never nobody else did. They did the old thing that a lot of coaches do, and that's why I tell you guys, this is not high school basketball. It's not junior high school basketball, not even college basketball, because now the players who play this game are going to start playing other positions. And once you start getting 6'3", 6'4", my specialty all day long is I turn them into guards. Angel Reese could be a guard, could be a wing, can guard on the wing on the perimeter. Angel Reese could guard CaitlinClark. I can tell you that right now. Man to man, straight up, let's go get it. Because that's what you're going to see in Unrivaled. And that's not a strength point. For Caitlin, is 3-on-3 is not a strength point for her. So they did the best move keeping her out of it. But that's Angel. Now, let me holler a little bit at Roscoe, right? I want to tell you guys about Roscoe, right? This is her main man, right? This is Asia Wilson's main man. Her dad took her out and trained her just like the men. Even though she knew she would never play quarterback in the NFL, he said, don't matter. You got to learn how to throw and you got to learn how to catch, right? So you got parents who are standing behind these players. And you know what? When I get in the back, that's why you never hear me bash a player. You never hear me get into a player. I always try to find a positive light because those players that you're bashing and people are going off on, they got parents, right? And you know what? Their parents have had a major, major impact on their life, right? So when you get to the Caitlin and her dad, Brent, let me tell you, that's the same name my brother has, Brent, right? But you look at this thing, her dad is a VP sales and marketing, right? So he gets the game, he gets the trigger, he gets everything that's going down right now. And you know what? And the Clark family is going to take every award that you give them. Whether it's earned, unearned, should have been given to someone else, it doesn't matter because when it goes into history books, that's what it says. Doesn't tell you who should have got the award in history books. It tells you who got the award. Caitlin got the award for the most impact by sporting news. And impact is saying a lot, and it changes how the game is played. And you're going to see a lot of impact. Remember that word, right? Because Caitlin, no doubt about it. Picture says 1,000 words. I mean, you come into the WNBA, and you come in there in an urban translations. I'll start kicking that in 2025. The urban translation is the white girl could play, right? The white girl can play basketball, right? Now, they didn't know the NBA and the WNBA. Nobody knew Caitlin could get it in like this. But, you got to say, like I said, what do they say? WNBA's favorite saying, rising tide, lift all boat. You done woke the boats up. You want to talk about woke? A few people come back and said, hey, Mike, you're on the woke trip. No, I'm telling you, CaitlinClark's woke up Black America, right? They woke up Black America, woke up Nike, right? Because she's coming in there and she's Sporting News Player of the Year. Now, here's where the game gets a little bit dicey. And for me and everybody's going to be there. The Indiana Fever going to experience the test of time is when you get all these awards, right? Because now we're going to find out how much do the Indiana Fever really love CaitlinClark. Let me tell you why. Because now you got everybody on board, whether it's Game Time, StubHub, Ticketmaster, man, them ticket prices, I guarantee you will pay 10 times what you paid last year to go see CaitlinClark. Now you're going to find out who the real CaitlinClark fans are. Because, it's going to start with the IR retirement. So when tickets are $10,000, folks, at some point, you're going to have to ask yourself, okay, I love CaitlinClark, but I might have to watch her on the WNBA League Pass. Or if you like traveling, so what? Spend the money. But it's going to cost you about $10,000 a ticket, right? That's where the price is. And that's what the price is because of all these awards strategically, right? You got the Naismith Jersey Mike's. That's a good sub they make. I like the Italian sub at Jersey Mike's. But CaitlinClark won that award too, right? Caitlin's AP Award of the Year, no doubt about it. I mean, CaitlinClark has won that award too, right? I mean, you look at it and you go there, and this is why I tell everybody, $22 billion in 223. Buy Nike stock. Look at the chart. Chart's going up, but here's the big kicker for me. When you get a player like CaitlinClark, and you got a corporate enterprise business dream, right? And you got the CaitlinClark effect. And what is the CaitlinClark effect? Just call it money. That's it. That's all it is money. Okay? CaitlinClark effect is money. Doesn't have anything to do with talent. Doesn't have anything. And I'll tell you guys, in the music industry, as I walk through my line and I go over there and I look at artists and everything, it doesn't have anything to do about who's the best singer. It doesn't have anything to do with who has the most talent. It does have the most money behind them. They're putting money behind CaitlinClark, rightfully so. And that's why I tell everybody, folks, Money Mike's never going to steer you wrong. Always going to tell you can make more money. Now, I always told you the WNBA players got a valuation of $1 million a player off the court. Now that's going up to $2 million. Because every time, what they're saying with the rising tides and the boats is every single time Caitlin gets an award, that all the other WNBA players make more money. You're right if you follow the blueprint. The CaitlinClark blueprint, you could have the same impact, right? Because at the end of the day, whenever there's a McDonald's, there always has to be a Burger King. There's got to be somebody standing right next to it. Now, here's Nike stock. This is where it gets good for Money Mike because Money Mike loves following the money, and the money works good for me, right? They got a bar. They got a balance there. They got a floor set, about 75 on the Nike stock, right? No matter what. And here's how stock works for all you guys that don't know, and you guys are getting in. I'm not an expert. I'm not coming here giving advice. However, they put a flooring in there. They say, okay, where can we bottom this thing out? Because Nike, if you look at it, they've been January 221 101. They bounced up there. This is a 5-year window. 166, capped out, got as high as 177. And then all of a sudden, the bottom dropped out, right? You get another CEO in there running things. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to deal with him. So the bottom drops down to the floor 75, right? And the real thing, if Nike has got to hold this, and this is where you get the stock buybacks, right? Because now you got to hold it. You got Caitlin in there. You brought her up at the earnings meeting. You got to hold that stock price. And you got to bring that stock price back up. How do you do that? You buy back your own stock, right? It basically keeps your price point where you want to be. Now, talk to you about this a little bit. And when you get into Juju Watkins, right? And you want to talk about Juju Watkins and what does Juju do and how does Juju do it and Juju's parents and everything of how they come together and how they make life good for her. Juju Watkins is another talent. And I've been hearing this for a long time. Now, CaitlinClark is the most impact player in the WNBA. CaitlinClark effect has taken over the WNBA. And that will stay in place until Juju gets there. Now, here's the deal with Juju. If she lands in L.A., which I'm just hoping they can balance this thing out and Kathy Egerberg gets it right. But when you land in L.A., let me tell you something, man. You give Steve Ballmer, Juju Watkins, you're going to have a fight on your hands, right? And this thing about the owners and everything, because with this acquisition fee, The acquisition fee to own a team in the WNBA needs to be $500 million, period. You can't afford the $500 million, you got to go find another opportunity because this one's not going to work for you. And when you get a player like Juju Watkins, right? Now, I've been listening to what people had to say. Yeah, with Juju, you got to come on up. You got to come up to Caitlin. Juju is way ahead of Caitlin. Juju ain't got to come up nowhere. Juju is miles ahead. And I'll tell you this, Juju Watkins, okay, from a business, corporate enterprise business standpoint, will have more of an impact on WNBA basketball, will have more of an effect on WNBA basketball than you would in NCAA basketball, right? Because Juju is a pro basketball player, period. Plays like the men, plays like the NBA, right? So you got Angel Wilson, and you've been able to match that up because Asia Wilson, got Roscoe in her, man. Roscoe's no joke, right? Roscoe's gonna tell you, you know what, this is a journey. You stand up for yourself as a father, right? Because when you start touching these fathers, you gotta understand, fathers are quick temper with the daughters, right? You don't really just disrespect them, call them names and all that kind of stuff. That's not the game, folks. So you gotta look at that. You got Angel Reese, no doubt about it. You got Angel Webb. I mean, they got family of basketball. This family is I never would have thought Angel Reese. I thought Angel Reese came along as a player. Angel Reese comes from a basketball family, a legacy of professional basketball, right? So you got to know that's in the bloodline. And when it's in the bloodline, you got parents, and then you got leader Bills, you got Brent, they're in the bloodline. So, Indiana, man, I'm going to tell you something, Indiana. Keep making as much money until the well runs dry because it's just like Texas oil. You're going to pump enough oil out of that thing, but when it runs dry, it's dry. It ain't no more oil coming out of it, right? So you got to maximize Caitlin. But with Juju, Lord have mercy. I want you guys to just take a deep breath. Okay. Juju is not coming up to CaitlinClark. CaitlinClark is trying to come up to Juju Watkins. Juju Watkins is the most dynamic basketball player that the world has ever seen. Now, here's the difference. You come out here to California where I'm at, you ain't going to see a lot of CaitlinClark jerseys, right? But you see a whole lot of Juju Watkins jerseys. And I'm telling you now, Juju Watkins' impact on the WNBA will be 5 times greater than it is in the NCAA. Why? Because they're not going to play Riverside. They're not going to play the mid-majors. You're playing the pro against the pro. And whatever Caitlin's going to do, you better do it before Juju gets there. Because I'll tell you what, if Juju lands with the Sparks and you want to get it in, you better get it in as quick as you can because at the end of the day, Juju Watkins is going to win a WNBA championship. Might do that year one. This depends on how Kathy Engelbert wants to structure it. Juju belongs in LA, just like Caitlin belongs in Indiana, just like Jewel Lloyd belongs in Chicago, right? Because you got Jewel Lloyd's parents, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand when you start getting to the kids and Jewel Lloyd's parents and what are Jewel Lloyd's parents, how they feel about the game. I mean, you're talking about a potential superstar, but CaitlinClark, yeah, there's no more awards you can give CaitlinClark, folks. I'll be honest. Is there any more awards you can give Caitlin? I mean, Caitlin has done everything, and that's where Stephen A got it confused. That battle, that Juju Watkins Caitlin battle, that's like a Pacquiao Mayweather fight. That's like a Canelo Alvarez. I mean, it's like boxing, right? I mean, you got to get in there and you gotta face the Mexican Aztec warrior. Now, here's the difference between Juju and all the other players that you're comparing, right? So you get Juju and Caitlin. See, this was really interesting. Juju don't have any dirt on her, and Caitlin, they ain't let no dirt get on her. So you don't have no bad things you could say about Juju. You can't get on there and say Juju did this on social media, did that, because Juju's just about the game of basketball. What is CaitlinClark about? CaitlinClark's just about the game of basketball. Now we did through all this other stuff in. It's gonna get a little more tougher. But man, you want to talk about USC, the folks, California, University of Southern Cal, private institution. Let me just tell you something. USC and Iowa don't compare. The alumni at USC is much more greater, much more bigger in the world of alumni, right? Because USC does it all. You want to go to law school, you want to go to film school, you want to go to medical. I mean, USC is a leader in California. Now, what was the Pac-12 conference? Pac-12 conference was the money conference. That's what the Pac-12 was. That's why I love Steve Ballmer, because Steve Ballmer ain't got no problem spending no money. And when you get to Juju and you start looking here at who's running it and who's taking care of it, I mean, you got parents, right? So you got to look at Michael, the parents of Juju and how he looks at it. Juju was recruited by two schools. They shut it down quick. I'm either going to South Carolina or USC. She chose SC. And Juju is different from Caitlin, and this is why. Juju's from Watts. Okay, that's the Soul Train. That's the African American community. So Juju is not going to change. Juju is just Juju, and CaitlinClark is not going to change, right? So this thing is going to really heat up down the road, and I am just telling you, CaitlinClark, Impact Sporting News did a great job being the Impact Player of the Year, because what did they do? They didn't get it all in the talent, how great you are. Just said, hey, you know what? She's the Impact Player of the Year. And that's what it takes to be the best of the best. And this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast at CaitlinClark. Boy, she keep on shining, don't you? Otani got it for the men, but the women, that's right, CaitlinClark took it down. Female Sports Athlete of the Year. We're going to talk about Bob, ain't no doubt about it. That's Bob Buchers, man. That's a UConn man right there, done the work. No doubt about it. You want to talk about Angel? Angel come from a basketball hooping family. From the mama to the brother to you name it, they all play basketball. You get in there, I'm going to talk to Roscoe, because Roscoe handles all business for Angel Reese. He told her it was a journey. You stand your ground and you stand tall. Because Angel Reese, and I think Angel Wilson's going to connect, but everybody tells me I'm crazy. But old Brent, Brent's a VP in sales and marketing, so he gets the game. He'll take all he can get. He says as long as you put the checks in the bank, Brent ain't got no problem. He's in the sales, marketing, commercials, whatever you want to do, but just put the money on the table. And you got Caitlin. Important news. Can't get no better than that. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Caitlin's the Impact, taking down all the awards. I say buy Nike stock. I don't care what you say. If you love CaitlinClark, you better buy Nike. It's at the floor, 75. It ain't going below that. It's tried, but it's bounced back. They won't do it. They'll do a stock buyback. You want to make a little money? This is just Money Mike telling you. I'm buying Nike stock. I don't care what anybody else does. I'm going to follow that train. But you got Michael and you got Juju. That's L.A. That's Watts, Compton, Inglewood. Right? That's right there. And it's going down. Juju's going to be a better Impact player. Coming into the WNBA, Paige Buchers. Bob, you did your job. Roscoe, you did your job. Angel Webb, you did your job. Everybody's done their job. Now the WNBA is rising, but the game is still a game. And always remember, you ain't going to have nowhere you can touch Juju. I'm just telling you, there ain't nothing wrong with Juju. You talk about a perfect player, perfect athlete, perfect smile. You know what? Everywhere she goes, carries herself. Whether it's the Emmy, the Grammy, the BET Awards, everybody knows Juju from Beyonce, Taylor Swift. They all know Juju because Juju is in the capital of the world. Entertainment capital of the world, that's L.A. We getting it in. It's a new year. Nike's going to make a lot of money if you bet it. But Juju's not coming up to CaitlinClark. CaitlinClark's got to go up to Juju because when Juju hits the WNBA, you're going to see a bigger impact than anybody else has ever had. But right now, they're going to hold the horses back on that. I think they might keep Juju out the league so she doesn't face CaitlinClark. Let Caitlin get her glory. She's earned it. The I is going to have to turn into the we. But these two are going head-to-head. Steve Ballmer steps in the WNBA game. If you guys don't know who Steve Ballmer is, a lot of people want to buy the Clippers. We're offering $5, $6, $7, $800 million. Steve Ballmer says, I'll give you $2 billion for the Clippers. Does anybody else want to match that? And he cleared the room. He'll clear the room for Juju because he understands dollars and cents and AT&T and Microsoft partnership. They're going to bring it to the table, and man, oh man, can they make money. So it's the WNBA. It is what it is. Juju Watkins, CaitlinClark. But Juju, you got to get in line because Caitlin taking it down. She's taking nothing but awards. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Happy New Year to everybody. And I'll tell you this, the WNBA is rising. I can't wait for these next 4 months to get done. We'll be back in business. Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. CaitlinClark, Sport News Athlete of the Year. We'll see you soon. All things possible to those who believe.